Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be doing another deep dive, um, this time into an article called
Yeah.
By Default, Capital Will Matter More Than Ever After AGI.
Okay.
This was from LessWrong,
Very cool.
and yeah, should be pretty interesting, I think.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. So we're going to be looking at, I guess, kind of the future of labor and capital, and how those things might be impacted
The
by
rise of powerful AI.
yeah, AI that can do basically any job.
Right.
So
Yeah. One of the sort of common assumptions I think people have about a future with super advanced AI is
Yeah.
that money won't matter anymore. Like if the robots are doing everything, why
Right.
would we need money?
yeah,
But this article really takes a different view.
yeah,
It suggests that capital, which you can think of as factories and software data centers and the money to buy them,
right.
might become even more important,
More important, right?
not less.
That's kind of counterintuitive.
It is, yeah.
Like you think if everything's free, why would I care about, owning capital?
Right.
But
It really comes down to how the nature of labor and capital
yeah,
might change.
yeah. The article starts out kind of defining what it means by labor and capital.
Right.
Labor's pretty straightforward. Human effort creates value. Capital being all the things you need to sort of buy in order to get things done.
The tools. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things I thought was super interesting was the idea that as AI gets more sophisticated,
Yeah.
it could essentially become like a general substitute for human labor.
Across a wide range of tasks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you could have, almost any job replaced by an AI
Yeah, absolutely.
if it gets to a certain level.
I mean, we're already seeing it with things like copywriting and image generation.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get,
Like very basic things.
yeah, it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So the article uses this analogy of like a data center,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
packed with just tons of AI-powered software.
Right.
And you can imagine this data center replacing, whole teams of human analysts,
Yeah.
researchers, even creatives.
Yeah.
So instead of like paying salaries to all these people,
Right.
you're just investing in the infrastructure
Right.
to run this AI.
It's almost like the idea of like universal basic income, except it's like universal basic output.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You know what I mean? Like everything is just kind of produced
By the AI.
by AI. And then it's like, how do you distribute that?
Exactly. And that's where the question of like who controls the AI
Right?
and the resources to run it becomes really crucial.
Right. That has huge implications, I think, for
Oh, absolutely.
like the balance of power.
Yeah.
The article, I think it has some really good examples. It
Yeah.
talks about the space race.
Right, between Blue Origin and SpaceX.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bezos poured billions into Blue Origin.
Right.
But Elon Musk's SpaceX, even with less initial funding,
Right.
is like pulling ahead in terms of innovation.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And the article also talks about like the Wright brothers,
yeah.
with very limited resources,
Mhm.
they achieved powered flight
Right.
before like all these much wealthier rivals.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how like historically money hasn't always been able to buy you like the best results,
Right.
especially when it comes to like attracting and leveraging
Yeah.
top talent.
Yeah. Like the top talent is not always motivated by just pure money.
Exactly.
And so the argument is that AI kind of changes that.
Completely flips the script. Yeah.
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 AI overcomes those limitations of,
Of relying on humans.
yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. AI can be replicated.
Right.
So if you need like the expertise of some brilliant but like eccentric scientist,
Right.
you don't have to spend a fortune trying to convince them to work for you.
Right.
You can just essentially clone their expertise
Right.
in an AI.
It's like taking the concept of open source software and applying it to
Human intelligence.
human intellect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like democratizing genius in a way we've never really seen before.
Right.
And on top of that, AI is likely to be way cheaper than human labor.
Right.
So not only is the talent more accessible,
Right.
it's also more affordable, even for people who don't have, billions to throw around.
Right.
And then I think this is really key. AI doesn't have like all the complex preferences and motivations that humans have.
Right.
Like you don't have to worry about your brilliant AI, demanding creative control or refusing to work on a project because they find it like morally objectionable.
Right. It's like a perfectly compliant workforce.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we like zoom out and look at the big picture,
Yeah.
what the article is suggesting is that in a world where AI is like
Yeah.
easily replicable and cheaper than humans and essentially has no like personal agenda,
Mm-hmm.
the people who control the capital to like build and run this AI
Right.
could have an unprecedented amount of power.
Yeah, it's a pretty radical shift in the balance of power. Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, what happens to everybody else?
Right.
If AI can do most jobs, how do we ensure that people still have a role to play in this future?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Let alone power and leverage.
Exactly.
So one of the common solutions that kind of gets thrown around is like universal basic income.
UBI.
UBI, yeah. The idea that everyone just gets a base income, regardless of whether they're working or not.
Right.
And, you know, on the surface, that sounds like a good solution.
Sure.
Like, if robots are doing all the work, why shouldn't we all benefit from the increased productivity?
Yeah.
But the article kind of suggests that UBI might not be the whole answer.
Yeah, it might address like material needs.
Right.
But there's a deeper question there.
Yeah, like if my only role in society is to be a consumer, you know, like what does that actually mean for me as a human?
Right. Like what's my purpose?
Yeah.
What's my agency?
And the article dives into like the reasons why historically states have cared about
the well-being of their citizens.
Like, why do states care about their people?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
And like I think, you know, post-industrial revolution, there's been kind of a good alignment between the interests of states and the well-being of people.
Right. You need an educated workforce. You need a thriving economy.
Yeah.
You need a certain level of freedom to foster innovation.
Yeah.
To compete on the world stage.
But if AI fulfills all those needs for the state, do they even need a population anymore?
Scary thought.
Yeah, like do they even need to ensure everyone's well-being?
Yeah.
If people aren't actually essential for their economic or military power.
Yeah, that's one of the really unsettling questions the article raises.
Yeah.
Is that the relationship between states and their citizens could change in a world dominated by AI.
Yeah. And maybe not for the better.
Right.
And then you have to think about that in the context of different political systems.
Yeah.
Like, how does this play out in a democracy?
Where, you know, the power's supposed to be with the people?
Right. Are people even going to be able to effectively influence a government that's increasingly reliant on AI?
Right. It's a chilling thought, but I think before we go too far down that path, the article also looks at some other impacts that this shift could have.
Beyond just economics.
Yeah, beyond just like economic well-being.
Yeah.
It looks at like how this could impact things like different paths to success.
Yeah.
Or social change.
Like entrepreneurship, scientific breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Even political and social movements.
Yeah, all these different things that kind of like...
How do those things work?
Drive change in society.
In an AI world.
Yeah. And so, you know, one of the things the article raises is that a lot of fields could initially benefit from AI.
Right.
Like imagine having AI tools that help you, you know...
Analyze markets, develop prototypes, write persuasive speeches.
Yeah.
I mean, that could empower individuals in a huge way.
Yeah.
But the concern is that over time, AI could also lead to a kind of obsolescence in these areas.
Like, why invest in a human entrepreneur if an AI can do it better and cheaper?
Exactly.
Yeah. And the article even suggests that this could apply to, like, the hard sciences.
Yeah.
Like, AI is already making huge strides in, like, research and data analysis.
Right.
So it's not hard to imagine a future where AI is basically driving scientific discovery.
At a pace that humans can't keep up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you know, it could be a huge boon to a lot of fields.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you know, we could see a decline in human achievement.
Yeah. A lot to think about.
Yeah. It is a lot to unpack. So
know.
I think we need to take a second and let all this sink in.
Good idea.
So I feel like we've painted kind of a bleak picture here.
Yeah. It's a lot to process.
But the article doesn't leave us completely stranded.
Right.
It does offer some paths forward.
Some potential solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the, I think, most thought-provoking ideas is this concept of human augmentation.
Yeah.
Like the idea that we could enhance our own capabilities.
Or technology.
Yeah, through technology, so that we can evolve alongside AI.
Right. Not fall behind.
Yeah. And I find this both exciting and kind of unnerving.
Yeah.
Like, what does human augmentation actually look like?
It's a big question.
Are we talking like brain-computer interfaces, genetic modifications, merging our consciousness with AI? It's like we're stepping into a science fiction film.
It's definitely a realm with huge potential and also massive ethical considerations.
Right.
The article doesn't get into like the specifics of how we might augment ourselves.
Right.
But it does challenge us to think seriously about how we might need to evolve if AI is going to be this transformative force.
And if we don't evolve, I mean, it's almost like we risk becoming like those adorable but kind of helpless house pets, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Totally dependent
on their owners for everything.
Yeah, on AI for everything.
Exactly.
But even beyond just like, you know, keeping up economically, I think there's something here about like preserving what it means to be human.
You hit on a crucial point. I think it's about agency.
Yeah.
It's about our ability to like shape the future instead of just becoming passive consumers in a world that's designed and run by AI.
If AI is like, you know, generating all the content we consume, powering the economies we participate in, even shaping like the political systems that govern us, like what is left for us to do? Where's the human spark?
It's a question that goes beyond just like keeping busy.
Yeah.
It's about purpose.
Yeah.
It's about what makes life meaningful.
And the article also challenges another common assumption, I think. Which is the idea that, you know, a future with advanced AI will automatically lead to a more equitable world simply because we can, you know, redistribute the wealth that AI creates.
Just give everybody UBI and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. UBI fixes everything.
Yeah.
But the article actually pushes back on that notion.
Yeah, it brings in some historical analysis.
Yeah.
Particularly from this book called The Great Leveler.
Yeah.
And it argues that, you know, if we look back historically, reductions in inequality have rarely, if ever, been achieved through like peaceful, planned methods.
It seems like it's always been like major upheaval, wars, revolutions, pandemics, like things that really shake up power structures and lead to like a more equitable distribution of resources.
It's a sobering thought.
Yeah, like if history's any guide, you know, even with AI generating massive wealth, just implementing UBI might not actually be enough to create like a truly equitable society.
It's not a magic bullet.
And we have to remember too, it's not just about wealth. It's about access to opportunity. It's about, you know, having influence, the ability to shape the future.
To have a voice.
And so, you know, if we combine this potential concentration of capital in the hands of a few with this possibility that, you know, states might no longer have the same incentives to prioritize the well-being of their citizens, it paints kind of a scary picture.
Yeah, it's a recipe for a future where a small group could wield incredible power.
While most of humanity is just left with very little agency.
Yeah, a very unequal world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, the article doesn't end on a totally pessimistic note.
No.
Does it?
It reminds us that, you know, throughout history, humans have shown incredible ingenuity and resilience.
In the face of, like,
seemingly insurmountable challenges.
Yeah.
There's no reason to think that we can't do the same
right.
with the challenges that AI presents.
So there's hope.
Yeah.
But like, what are the concrete steps we can take?
Right.
What can we do as individuals to navigate this uncharted territory and make sure that we're creating a future
where humanity thrives?
Yeah.
That's where the article gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
It calls for a shift in mindset.
Okay.
For a new kind of ambition.
Okay.
One that's focused not just on like personal success, but on collective flourishing.
Okay, so it's not just about me getting mine.
Exactly.
It's about like, how do we all rise together?
Yeah, how do we create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive?
And the article urges us to look for what the author calls the cracks in the wall.
You love that analogy. The cracks in the wall.
Those areas where, you know, human ingenuity and adaptability can still make a difference.
Even in a world where AI is becoming increasingly capable.
Yeah, I love that analogy of the cracks in the wall.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that even if like some paths to success become less viable, even if certain fields, you know, become dominated by AI, there will always be new opportunities for humans to contribute.
Absolutely.
To innovate.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing those opportunities and seizing them.
And the article goes even deeper.
Yeah.
It suggests that this isn't just about like finding new ways to be like economically productive.
Right.
It's about rethinking what we value as a society.
Okay.
If AI can take over a lot of the tasks that we currently consider like work,
right,
it frees us up to focus on other aspects of human experience.
Things like
creativity, art, community building, exploration. Maybe even like the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake.
It's almost like AI could be the catalyst for like a renaissance of the human spirit.
Interesting.
Like a chance to rediscover what truly makes us unique and valuable in a world that's no longer defined solely by our ability to perform specific jobs.
And it's in those areas, the ones that are like uniquely human.
Yeah.
Where we might find the most meaningful forms of ambition and achievement in the future.
Like if AI can, compose music, write poetry, even paint masterpieces, it challenges us to go beyond just like mere technical skill.
Right.
It forces us to ask.
Yeah, what is it about human creativity that's irreplaceable?
What makes a piece of art resonate with us?
Yeah.
On like an emotional level.
It's about tapping into that something extra.
Yeah.
That spark of human consciousness.
Yeah.
That goes beyond algorithms and data processing.
Finding new ways to express our humanity.
Yeah.
Even as the world around us is being transformed by technology.
I like that.
And that brings us to a really important point, I think, that the article makes about this idea of dream time.
Dream time.
Yeah. The author uses this term borrowed from Aboriginal mythology to describe the present moment.
Okay.
This period where the future is still malleable.
Right.
Where we have the power to shape the world that we want to create.
It's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
A call to action. Disguised as like an anthropological reference.
It's a reminder that we're not just like passive observers watching the future unfold.
Right.
We're active participants.
We have agency.
Yeah. And the choices we make today, the actions we take, the ideas we embrace, all of these things will determine the kind of future we create.
For ourselves and for generations to come.
Yeah.
It's a call to step into that dream time.
Yeah.
With intention.
With intentionality.
To think critically.
Yeah.
About the world we want to build.
And to start taking steps.
Towards making that vision a reality.
And I think that's where this deep dive comes full circle.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding the potential impacts of AI.
Right.
It's about empowering you, the listener, to take ownership of your role.
In shaping this future.
So we're talking about, AI that can replace human labor. And how that could shift the balance of power-making capital, maybe more important than ever. It's a lot to wrap our heads around, but this article we're deep diving into goes beyond just, presenting the problem. It offers some ways of thinking about solutions.
Yeah, it really encourages a shift in mindset.
Okay.
A new kind of ambition.
A new kind of ambition.
Not just focused on personal success.
Right.
But on collective flourishing. Right. Like, how do we all rise together? How do we create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive?
Right. It's not just about me getting mine. It's about
us
all kind of moving forward as a species.
Yeah. And the author talks about looking for what he calls the cracks in the wall.
The cracks in the wall.
Yeah, those areas where human ingenuity and adaptability can still make a difference, even in a world where AI is becoming super capable.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Like, even if AI is taking over certain fields or jobs, there are going to be these new opportunities that open up.
Yeah, new spaces for humans to contribute, to create, to innovate.
Like, AI can't do everything right. There's always going to be...
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, there's always going to be these gaps that need to be filled.
And it's not just about finding new ways to be economically productive.
Yeah.
Right. It's about rethinking what we value as a society.
Yeah.
Like, if AI can take over a lot of the tasks that we currently think of as work, it frees us up to focus on other aspects of human experience.
Right, like more creative pursuits or things like that.
Exactly. Like creativity, art, community building, exploration.
Yeah.
Maybe even like the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake.
Yeah, it's like almost AI could be a catalyst for like a renaissance of the human spirit.
Yeah, a chance to rediscover what makes us human,
Yeah, like in a world where AI is doing all the, quote unquote work, what does it mean to be human?
And I think that's where some of the most exciting opportunities lie.
Yeah.
Like if AI can compose music, write poetry, paint masterpieces, it challenges us to go beyond just mere technical skill.
Right. Like, what is it about human creativity that's irreplaceable?
What makes a piece of art resonate with us on an emotional level?
What gives it that soul?
Exactly. It's about tapping into that something extra.
Yeah.
That spark of human consciousness that goes beyond algorithms and data processing.
It's like finding new ways to express our humanity.
Yeah.
Even as the world around us is being transformed by technology.
Beautiful.
And, speaking of transformation, the article makes this really interesting point about dream time.
Dream time.
Yeah, it's a term borrowed from Aboriginal mythology.
Oh, interesting.
And the author uses it to describe the present moment.
Okay.
This period where the future is still malleable.
Right.
Like we still have the power to shape the world that we want to create.
I love that. It's a call to action.
Yeah.
It's like we're not just passive observers watching the future unfold.
Right.
We're active participants.
Yeah.
And the choices we make today, the actions we take, the ideas we embrace,
yeah.
all of these things will determine what kind of future we create.
Not just for ourselves, but for generations to come.
Yeah, for all of humanity.
So it's like this is a call to step into that dream time with intention.
Absolutely.
To think critically about the world that we want to build.
And to start taking those steps to make that vision a reality.
And I think that's where this deep dive comes full circle.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not just about understanding the potential impacts of AI.
Right.
It's about empowering you, the listener.
Yeah.
To take ownership of your role in shaping this future.
To become a conscious participant in the dream time.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this exploration, I have a question for you, dear listener.
Okay.
The author talks about cracks in the wall of human obsolescence. What cracks do you see? What are the skills, the knowledge, the mindsets that will be most valuable in this AI-powered future?
Good question.
And maybe even more importantly, what kind of future do you want to create?
Yeah.
Both for yourself and for humanity as a whole.
These are big questions.
Yeah.
But they're the questions we need to be asking ourselves right now.
Because the future isn't preordained. It's a tapestry that's woven from all of our choices.
Our actions.
And our beliefs.
And the more informed, the more engaged, the more proactive we are.
The better chance we have of creating a future that's not just technologically advanced,
right,
but also just equitable and full of opportunity for human flourishing.
So to our amazing listener, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope it sparked some new ideas, some critical thinking, and maybe even a renewed sense of hope and possibility.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep striving to create the future you want to see.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, happy diving.